So Dandavat, again, Anangamanjari, thank you for translating again. Dandavat Vraja Hari Prabhu, Dandavat Govinda Mohini, Dasi. Nice to see at least your names again. Oh, there is Govinda Mohini, Dandavat. So today we will again go on Parikrama. And here is Shamananda and Sakyarati. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Good that you could join us as well. We have been staying here in Vrindavan during the whole month of Kartik. Behind Shamananda and Sakyarati, you can see the lush vegetation of Vraja Mandala. The honey-like Madhu Vrindavan. So we have been doing different kinds of parikramas during our time here, and now the month of Kartik is over. But we still have one more parikrama that we will go on together because before everybody leaves for their own native places. And I thought that today we will go a little further away from where we have usually been staying. So far we have been to Govardhan, Vrinda Kund. We've done Panchakroshi, Vrindavan Parikrama. And last time we went to the three temples of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Vrindavan, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath. Today we will go a little bit further out. And we will go to Nandagram. It takes a long time to go to Nandagram from Vrindavan. If you go there by car, the road is very, very bumpy. You can't go there by tempo like you can go to Govardhan or Radha Kund. You'll have to take more like a jeep style car. But we don't want to do that. We are all strong and young and healthy. So we will go by foot. So we go all the way from Vrindavan to Nandagram by foot. And it's a wonderful pilgrimage. There are some other pilgrims as well. Everybody walking barefoot in the dust of Vrindavan. And walking the whole day like this, having our hand in the bead bag, reciting the holy name from when we get up to late in the evening, continuing the next day. It's a wonderful meditation. Our whole body is bathed in the dust of Vrindavan. Yes, it is a little bit challenging, but we don't mind that. This is Pada Sevanam. This is serving the Lord with our feet. Pada Sevana can mean serving the Lord's feet, but it can also mean serving the Lord with our feet. And that is what we are doing when we are going on parikrama, when we are going on pilgrimage. We are walking, putting one foot in front of another. Of course, life in its all of its variety is sometimes compared to a journey. Life is a journey, like a pilgrimage. Sometimes we may get lost for a little while. Sometimes we may get upset with the person we're walking with. Sometimes we get overjoyed seeing something nice. Sometimes we get sad when we see something not so nice. But if we have a goal in front of us, none of this really matters so much. If we have the goal fixed on Nanda Baba's house, there, up on the hill in front of us, we don't need to worry about anything. Nandagram, Nanda's village, the place where Nanda Maharaj moved, when he moved away from Gokula and went across the Yamuna, is on top of a hill. This hill is said to be the head of Lord Shiva. There are several hills in this area. Nandagram is the head of Lord Shiva. So let us go closer and see. Everywhere we are surrounded by the Brajavasis. Here one lady is making some rotis. And it is the custom in this area of Vrindavan that the sadhus, they go out for madhukari. Madhukari means doing like the bee, the madhukar, the one who makes the honey. So the custom of the bee is to go to many flowers and take just a little bit of nectar from everywhere. So the custom of madhukari is that the saints will go to a few different houses and they will ask for just a little bit of alms in every house. So all of these Vrajavasi ladies, when they are cooking, they make sure that they cook a little bit extra every day. If their family will eat 20 chapatis, they will make 25 just in case. So that there will be some for the sadhus as well. And sometimes these Vrajavasis are so merciful that they even give madhukari to persons like us, even though we are not really sadhus, or maybe you are, but I'm not. But they are so merciful that they see us like Vaishnavas, and we can learn something from them. To see everybody as a Vaishnava, everybody who's trying even a little bit. Guru Maharaj many times makes the point of Putana, how Putana was such a nasty person, and we don't know even half of all the bad things Putana had done. Killed so many babies in so many different nasty ways. And the way she tried to kill Krishna, what a terrible story that is. But she did one nice thing, and that was she dressed like a good person. Sadveshadiva Putana. Just like Putana, she dressed up like a Vaishnava. And Krishna liked that and gave her liberation. So we should try to think like this. Somebody who does the smallest thing, even a person who just dresses up like a Vaishnava, we should honor that person as a Vaishnava, like these Vrajavasis are doing. Now, up on the hill is Nanda Baba's temple. When Mahaprabhu came here, there was no temple. It's mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Dev, when he came here to Nandagram, there were deities of Nanda and Yashoda and Krishna and Balaram that were worshipped in a cave. Very simple worship. These deities are said to have been installed by Vajranabha. Vajranabha is the great grandson of Krishna. He is said to have installed deities in the Vrindavan area, in the Vraja area. And some of those are said to have survived all the way until our times. So those deities were worshipped in a cave, and then eventually this big, beautiful temple was built on top of the hill. There are many stories about the life that they used to live here in Nandagram. This, after all, is the place where Krishna spent most of his time in Vrindavan. In Gokul, when he was the little boy. But then most of the cowherd leelas, most of the leelas with the gopis, they take place during the time when Krishna is living here in Nandagram. So there are so many leelas connected to this place. For example, it is said that once Lord Shiva came to visit Nanda and Yashoda's house, wishing to see Krishna. But he came like a yogi, looking like a yogi, with matted hair and a cobra around his neck and Mother Yashoda wasn't very eager to show her beautiful child to such a crazy person that she thought. But Krishna was just crying and crying and crying. And Mother Yashoda couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. He wasn't, after all, a very small baby anymore, but still he was just crying and crying. So then she started thinking, maybe I did an offense to that sadhu. He was kind of crazy, but with sadhus, you never know. They may look crazy and they might be really good, or they might look really good and they might be crazy. You never know. It's better to show everybody respect. So she went back to the door and she brought Krishna with her. And as soon as Krishna saw this yogi, he started smiling and was happy again. And Mother Yashoda realized that there's something going on here. So she asked the yogi, what can I do for you? And he said, well, the only thing I want is to have a little bit of the food remnants of this boy. And Mother Yashoda couldn't understand what the whole idea behind that was, because yogis, they don't eat much. Krishna eats all kinds of rich foods. And why would a great yogi want to have the uchishta, the remnants of a small boy? But since he asked for that, and with sadhus, you never know, they might curse you if you don't do as they say. So she gave him some laddus that Krishna had tried. And he was very happy and he went away. So still today, here in the temple of Nanda Maharaj, all the food that has been offered to Krishna and Balaram and Nanda and Yashoda, all that food is then offered to Lord Shiva. There's a Shiva lingam here just outside the temple called Nandishvara. And all the prasadam of Krishna is given to Shiva there. So there are many stories like this about all of these places. Most of these stories cannot be found in any shastra. Most of these stories are what we would call oral tradition. They are passed down from generation to generation. We don't always know exactly how reliable they are, but they always teach us some nice point, and we can focus on that. Like the point of this story, of course, is that even Lord Shiva wants to have the prasadam of Krishna. So, Nandishwar Mahadev ki jai. Jai Nanda Baba ki jai. Yashoda Ma ki jai. Jai Krishna Balaram ki jai. We take darshan inside, but we don't want to take a picture. That's not so respectful. So we take darshan, we pay our obeisances. And we go down the hill because there are many more interesting things to see here in Nandagram. Below the hill of Lord Shiva, the head of Lord Shiva, it is said that Nanda Baba, when he came to this place, he excavated a lake. And he called this lake just Nandagram Lake or something like that. It's a beautiful lake. It's a large lake with clear, nice water. This is a good place for swimming for Shamananda and Sakirati and everybody else who feels warm and wants to take a dip. This is a good place for swimming. It's said that Nanda, Yashoda, and the others, they would come down here to bathe. And from Varsana, the city of King Vrishabhanu, Radharani's father, they would also come to this lake and they would swim on the other side. And sometimes Krishna and Radha, they would dive under the water and they would meet in the middle of the lake and have kind of underwater pastimes there. without anybody seeing. There are many stories about this lake. Today it is known as Pavan Sarovar, the purifying lake. And it got its name in a funny way. Once, when Krishna was living in Nandagram, he saw his mother making very special kind of prasadam, very special kind of foods. She was frying things and making kind of fried balls and making kachoris and other fried things and packing them up nicely in banana leaves, cups, and putting things into small clay containers. And she was asking her that, Mother, why are you making food like this? We never have food like this. And Yashoda said, I'm making it for Nanda Baba. He's going to go on a journey. So Krishna got really worried. Where is my father going? So he ran up to Nanda Maharaj, asking him, Baba, Baba, where are you going? And Nanda Baba said, I'm going to go to Prayag. What's Prayag? Well, Prayag is a place where 3 rivers are meeting. The Yamuna that we have here in Vrindavan, but also the Ganga and also the Saraswati rivers. They all meet in this one place. And it's a very holy place. And if you take bath in that place, especially if you take bath there on the day of Akshaya Tritiya, you're going to get very much purified. And I'm a king. I'm the king of the cowherds here. And kings always have to make decisions and they have to do things that are not always so good. So I feel that I need to get rid of all of my impurities and my sins. So I will go to Prayag. So that's why Mother has made for me this kind of traveling food that will stay for a long time, and I can travel there and I will be back after some time. So when Krishna heard of all of this, he got so worried. My father is going away, and who knows how long he will be away. I've heard that it's very far away, this Prayag. So he went to bed, but he couldn't sleep properly because he was so worried. And Nanda Maharaj, he was packing up his things. He was speaking with his friends that were joining him. He wasn't going alone, of course. He had a whole group of others who are going with him. When they suddenly saw a strange person come towards them, this person was completely dark. He was completely black. And that didn't seem to have, he was dark, not like Krishna. Krishna is like a dark moon. He's black, but he's very shiny. He's very effulgent. This person was like an eclipse or something. He was dark, but very kind of depressed, and there was no luster and no beauty around him. He was like almost difficult to see him. And he seemed to be very depressed and very sad. So Nanda Maharaj asked him that, my dear sir, who are you? Well, my name is Prayag. Who? Prayag. My name is Prayag. I've come here to take bath in this lake because I'm so depressed. On Akshaya Tritiya, so many people come to take bath in me, and I become full of all of their sins and all of their impurities. So I want to come here to purify myself, to make myself bhavana, to make myself pure. And I brought some friends also. And there was an old lady walking really stiffly and with great difficulty. Another old lady. This is my friend Ganga. This is my friend Yamuna. All of the holy places personified came there in very decrepit states. And they all took bath in the lake that Nanda Maharaj had dug and where Krishna had swum. And when they went into the water, they were all transformed to beautiful, young, strong persons, and happily shouting, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Jai, Nandalal ki Jai. They all went away again. And after that, everybody called this lake Pavana Sarovar, the Purifying Lake. And Nanda Maharaj also realized, I don't need to go to any Prayag. All the holy places, they come here. So he took bath in Pavana Sarovar, and then they ate all that special prasadam together as a picnic, and he didn't need to go anywhere. So that's a story about this Pavan Sarovar. Also this kind of folk story that people tell about this place. It's a special place connected with Krishna and Balaram and Radha and the gopis as well, as we heard. But there are also many sacred places just next to this lake. Just on the banks of Pavana Sarovar is the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Sanatan Goswami Pada. Sanatan Goswami, he of course spent most of his time in Govardhan, as we heard before. We visited already one of his Bhajan Kutirs there when we went to Govardhan village by Manasi Ganga. Another place where he spent a lot of time was here by Pavana Sarovar. And there's a Bhajan Kutir here, which belongs to the mission of Srila Bhakti Hriday Bon Maharaj. And there are some of his disciples and grand disciples who are staying in this place. There's a Babaji called Bhagavan Das Babaji and another one called Sanatan Das Babaji. It's a very austere place, like you can see from the picture. They have electricity only sometimes. There's no hot water. Everybody takes bath in the Pavan Sarovar early in the morning. But it's a beautiful place. I've had the fortune to spend some time here before, and I liked it very much. It's very peaceful, very calm, very nice bhajan is being done here. There's a small sanctuary here which marks the Bhajan Kutir of Sanatan Goswami. There are also several samadhis in this area. There is the samadhi of Srila Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, Akinchan Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, the one of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples that everybody knows that was in Sakya Bhava. There are also other samadhis here, samadhi of Rashikananda Bon Maharaj, of Shuddhananda Bon Maharaj, and other disciples of Srila Bhakti Hriday Bon Maharaj. There's also a temple just next by, which is called the Pavan Bihari Mandir or Pavan Bihari Gaudiya Math, which also belongs to Bon Maharaj's movement. It is managed by a sannyasi called Nityananda Bon Maharaj, and they are very hospitable there. All the Vaishnavas who come to this area, they're always fed in that temple. So it's a beautiful place. And there are so many nice places here. A little bit further out, if we go out a little bit from Nandagram, we come to Vrinda Kund. There's a Vrinda Kund, of course, in Vrindavan also, but Vrinda Kund is here nearby Nandagram. This is a beautiful kund and a beautiful temple that is maintained by some ISKCON devotees who have also renovated the place and made it really nice. Dinabandhu Prabhu is the one who is in charge of this project. So there are many places like this in Vrindavan. You can really go anywhere, and you'll always find some sadhus. You'll always find some temples and some sangha where you can engage in bhajan. So we take darshan here as well. We say Haribol and Dandavat to Dinabandhu Prabhu, and we continue on. And we come to a nice place, which is right in the middle of Nandagram and Varsana. This place is called Shankarikor. Shankarikor is, like you can maybe see on the picture, it's a very narrow, kind of like a ravine. If you want to go here, you'll have to go from down there in the right and then up towards the left. And it's very difficult to pass there. A single person can block your passage very easily. And of course, that's exactly what happened in this place. When Radha and the other gopis were bringing yogurt and milk products and butter, Krishna would stop them here and demand dana. Dana means toll. So he would say, you cannot pass unless you give toll. I am the toll collector. I have been appointed by King Kamsa in Mathura. He has given me adhikara, the authority to collect toll here. So you have to give me some of your riches. I know that you're carrying lots of riches with you. So give some and then you can pass. And so many leelas would happen in this place based on this kind of intrigue. In Ujjvala Nilamani and other shastras, there are many descriptions of this place and all the different bhavas that would fill Radharani when dealing with Krishna in this place. This is called Kila Kinchita Bhava. When Radha is filled with the feeling of pride, I'm not going to submit to you, you rascal. I am the queen of Vrindavan. Ambition, get away. Don't stand there, you black snake. Go away. But also, she's getting worried. So she's also crying at the same time. At the same time that she's smiling, she's crying, she's also smiling because she's understanding how sweet Krishna is, even though he's a rascal. She's envious of the other gopis who don't seem to be as scared as she is. She's fearful. What will happen? Will Krishna try to grab hold of me? She's angry with him. So there's 7 different emotions that are manifest in her at the same time. It's called Kila Kinchita Bhava. And it's a very beautiful mix of different emotions, seemingly contradictory emotions that manifest at the same time. So this is something about these leelas that take place here in Shankarikor. Of course, Krishna engages in this kind of dana leela or toll leela in other places as well, like we heard that he did on Manasi Ganga when we were there. But this is the most famous place for dana leela. So we pay our obeisances here and we go on. And we come to Varsana. Varsana is the town of Radha, of King Vrishabhanu. It's not very far from Nandagram. From on top of the hill, you can see to Nandagram from here. And actually, Radha and Krishna, they can see each other through their windows from on top of the hill. We can't really do that. Our Kali Yuga eyes, they're not so good that we can do that, but they can do that. They can see each other from their windows on top of these hills. This Nandishwar hill in Nandagram, that's said to be the head of Lord Shiva. Here in Varsana, we have 4 hills, and those are said to be the 4 heads of Lord Brahma. So all the devatas are here in Vraja Mandala. Just like all the holy places are here, so are all the devatas as well. To get up here on this hill, we have to go up quite steep steps. Those steps are covered with a corrugated metal roof. You can see that it looks like a gray kind of snake there in the middle of the picture. Those steps are quite steep. And not all pilgrims are as strong and healthy like Govinda Mohini, for example. So some need a little bit help to get up those steps. But before we even get to those steps, we see that this place is full of people and everybody is celebrating, everybody is happy, because this is the town of Srila Radharani, Radharani, the Queen Radha. When my family was living in Calcutta, we lived in the house of one Bengali doctor, and he was a little bit, he was old and a little bit senile, but he would always point out that don't say Radha, always say Radha Rani, Queen Radha, because she's not just any Radha, she's the Queen of Vrindavan. So all these different people, they have come here, and they are also happy to be here in the town of Radharani, and so are we. We're filled with happiness to have reached the town of Radha, the town of Vrishabhanu Raja. You can go up the stairs by foot, or then you can go up by palanquin. And my little Radha, she decided to go by palanquin. She's looking a little bit serious, but she's right to look a little bit serious, because after all, this is a very special place. This is a very, very special place. And when people see her, they are amazed. Here is a new little Radha coming. And in Vrindavan, many people are thinking like this. They know that Radha is the Antaranga Shakti, the Hladini Svarupa of Krishna. But they also think that Radha can be embodied in humans sometimes. And as Vaishnavas, we should also learn to think like this, that there is a little bit of Radha in all of us. In which way? If we are devotees, there's a little bit of Bhakti Devi in all of us. And Bhakti Devi and Radharani, they are one and the same. So we should learn to think that there is a little bit of Radha in all the Vaishnavas, which makes all the Vaishnavas worshipable for us. If we can think that we are Vaishnava Dasa Dasa Anudasa, that is a very beautiful thing for us. And that is something that, as Guru Maharaj says, will call our progress. It is something that will forcibly make us advance on the spiritual path. So we go up the stairs and we come to the courtyard of the Ladali temple here. Ladali means little girl. So this temple is the temple of Ladali, of little Radha. And it's an opulent, beautiful temple where pilgrims come from many places, all over North India, and of course today also from abroad. There's always some kirtans going on. There's always some programs going on. Here it's a little bit more relaxed. Not so many people are here. So we take the opportunity to look around a little bit. You can see far from on the top of this hill. You can see the land of Vraja all around. As it looks today to our material eyes, even to our material eyes, this is a beautiful place. There are groves. Ter Kadamba is not very far away from here. A beautiful Kadamba forest, a favorite place of our Guru Maharajas. Far away, today is a warm, hazy day, so it's not so easy to see, but you can see Nandagram from here. You can see Sanket, the place where Radha moves when she gets married. And You can see many beautiful places from here. And you can also see the nice architecture of this temple, which has been built during the centuries. Varsana is not yet mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so it hadn't been developed during Krishnadas Kaviraja's time yet. But for example, in Bhakti Ratnakara, which is written about 100 years later, there it's already mentioned. And then, of course, gradually it is developed by different bhaktas, different kings and patrons in North India. This palace here was built by one king on one of the other hills. Remember, there are four hills here in Varsana. This palace is said to be the palace of Nanda Baba, of Vrishabhanu Raja. The temple of Radha we saw, but this is the palace of Vrishabhanu Raja. Of course, it's not 5,000 years old. It's built maybe 200 years ago or so by some Rajput king. And this is one of the nice things with the Vraja area. These different kings, these different landlords and other rich people, they used to use their money to construct something beautiful in Vrindavan. Like we saw this Kusum Sarovara near Govardhan, or Keshi Ghat in Vrindavan. These beautiful places, they were all built by materialists. But materialists that also were devotees. So not ordinary materialists, but rich people who used their wealth to beautify the land of Vraja and to worship Krishna. So they were rich, maybe not always 100% pure devotees, but they used whatever they had to do something nice. Today, of course, rich people, they will use their money in a different way, and that's unfortunate. But it's the same in India as well. But in Vrindavan, we can see the remnants of this kind of pious culture where the idea that people had was that wealth is something that they have gotten as a blessing from the Lord, and they want to kind of give it back in this way by creating something nice for the devotees. Now, we will go back into the temple, because in a temple like this, there are always many interesting things going on. And today, one sadhu has come here to give class.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Rajanulambato Bhujo Kanarabhadato Sankirtanaya Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishvambaro Twijabaro Yugadhama Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavutaro.
So Guru Maharaj has given us the keys to come to Sri Vrindavan Dham. He's the one who is opening up all these wonderful places to us. It is by his mercy alone that we have been able to go on parikrama. When we go on parikrama, we may think that I'm walking with my own feet. My foot is taking a step forward. My eyes are seeing all these beautiful places. My ears are hearing all this Krishna Katha. My tongue is tasting Krishna Prasadam. My body is feeling the dust of Vrindavan. But in actual fact, we are not doing anything independently in the Holy Dham, just like we're not doing anything independently anywhere else either. Everything that we get by the mercy of Sri Guru. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami praise. How does it go? Nama Shreshtam Manumapi Shachiputramatra Svarupam Shri Rupam Sagrajam Ruparim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, in his translation of this prayer, he says that I bow down, I'm paraphrasing, he says, I bow down to Sri Guru, who has given me the highest conception of the holy name. Raghunath Das Goswami, in this prayer, he's saying that the Guru is giving Nama Shreshtam, the highest conception of the holy name, Manumapi, and the mantra. And then he mentions all these different things, Radha Kunda, Giri Raja, and so on. This Guru Deva, who is giving us access to all of these places. And that's why it is apposite that here, when we are ending our parikrama, Vraja Parikrama, we end it in the company of Guru Maharaj, our Om Vishnupad Srila Bhaktivedanta Tripurari Dev Goswami Maharaj, La Gurudev Ki Jai. Because he is the one who has given us the opportunity to come here on Parikrama. And he is the one who's brought us all together. I would never have met Ananga Manjari or Govinda Mohini or Shamananda or Sakyarati or Brajahari or Haripriya or Kanuram without Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is the one who is the glue that is keeping us all together and who is bringing us together. I pray that one day he will take us again to Vrindavan, and not only virtually, but also in real life, and that we may follow literally in his footsteps in the dust of Vrindavan. And I pray to the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas, who are like desire trees, able to fulfill all the desires of the conditioned souls, that they will forgive me for any mistakes that I have done while taking you on these parikramas, and they will bless me with the ability to come back to Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan is the place where we are always coming home. We may go somewhere else. Life may toss and turn our lives about, and we might think that we are getting lost and we go somewhere else. We go to Finland, to Bulgaria, to Costa Rica, to Argentina, to the United States, to many different strange places. But eventually we'll always come back to Vrindavan. So I pray to the Vaishnavas that they will allow me to come home to Vrindavan again and again and again. So thank you all for engaging me in this seva. And if there are any questions or comments, I can try to answer them. And now I can't seem to find the stop share button, but
Haribol.
Haribol, Haripriya.
Hey, thank you so much for the lectures. I just wanted to say that I have really enjoyed this series. And I would like to ask if there's a certain place in Vrindavan that is especially dearer to you personally. And my other question is that do you think you could sometimes in the future do kind of similar series of classes about Navadvip Parikrama as well? Haribol.
Thank you, Haripriya. Thank you very much for your appreciation. It means a lot to me. Thank you. As for the first question, I do have some favorite places. One is the ashram of my respected Shiksha Guru Maharaj, Shlagopananda Bon Maharaj, next to the Madan Mohan temple. We visited there as well last week. That's one of my favorite places. In Vrindavan itself, I also really like the Madan Mohan temple, and I also very much like Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi there next to the Madan Mohan temple. It's also close by to Gopananda Bon Maharaj's ashram, so I've been there many times. Maybe that's why it's one of my favorite places also. But I also really like Nandagram and Pavan Sarovar and Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. Maybe you remember, Haripriya, I once wrote an article about that place for the Ananda magazine many years back. So that's one of my favorite places. Another place that I really like is Tir Kadamb, which is a Kadamba grove nearby Nandagram. And it's also one of Guru Maharaj's favorite places. Today I read how one of our senior god sisters was reminiscing how he was literally, she wrote, he was literally frolicking in the fields there. Unfortunately, I didn't see that. I had to leave early that time when Guru Maharaj was in Vrindavan last time, so I didn't see him frolicking there in the field. But I think you did. So maybe you could share something with us about your visit to Tir Kadamb, Haripriya, with Guru Maharaj. No? Anyway, it's one of my favorite places. And as for the second question about Navadvip Dham Parikrama, I will do whatever the Vaishnavas ask me to do. So if our Padmanabh Maharaj asks me to do that, then I will say yes. I'm his slave and his servant. So if he asks me, I will try to do my best. I'm happy that you appreciated these parikramas. I liked it very much myself, as I'm sure you could notice. So if I get the chance to do this seva again, I would be happy. But as I said, I'm doing whatever Maharaj asks me to do. How is it in Madhuvan, Shamananda and Sakyarati?
It's awesome, of course. We are very lucky. And yeah, I wanted actually to say how much I liked this series. It was just awesome. It feels like I like you all your series. I like your last series more than the one before all the time. So I'm looking forward for the next series. It's very beautiful.
That will be a challenge for me to kind of get higher every time.
Since it's working like that.
Thank you. You're very sweet to say that. Thank you. And I'm very happy for you for being there in Madhuvan. It looks so sunny and beautiful. I'm
yes.
a little bit jealous, but mostly very happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, Shamananda was saying to some friends that you are moving to Finland, but through Costa Rica.
Yeah, like we're going to Finland via Costa Rica.
Yeah. So this is our stop for now.
I wouldn't be too surprised if you get stuck there in Madhuvan, but I'm still hoping you will come here.
Yes, we will.
Oh, here's a giant bumblebee in front of us.
Your
Right.
face. It's gone.
Okay.
So again, or are there any more questions?
I don't know if it's very pertinent and so on, but I'm just curious if you would happen to know anything about this Sanatan Das Babaji, because I've heard that he's a disciple of Krishna Das Babaji, but that I just read in a book by Damodar Maharaj.
It's possible. I don't know. On the other hand, I heard that he didn't initiate anybody, but maybe he gave him Babaji Vesha. He's also a little bit eccentric, this Sanatan Das Babaji. When I was in Nandagram, I met him, and I have a beautiful picture of him that I wanted to show, but somehow Facebook wasn't cooperating today. So I didn't manage to get that picture to you. But if you go on my profile and look at the album of Vrindavan, I think 2014, or there's two Vrindavan albums on my Facebook profile, 2014 and 2017, I think. And there's a nice picture of him in one of those. He has a beautiful mustache and beard. So I met him, and he gave me some prasadam also. So I got very nice mercy from him. But I don't know actually if he's Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj's disciple or not. I hadn't heard it before.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And there's a question in the chat.
There is no particular qualification when it comes to our physical or mental body. You can stay in Vrindavan in many different ways. You can stay in quite luxurious places. Like ISKCON has this MVT guest house, which is it's costly, but it's quite opulent and quite comfortable. You don't need to use only cold water and sleep on a concrete floor. You can stay quite comfortably in Vrindavan. If your body is having some difficulties, that's no hindrance to going to Vrindavan. People with different kinds of physical problems, they can still go to Vrindavan. The same goes with mental problems. That's no hindrance for going to Sri Vrindavan Dham. But of course, spiritually, there is one qualification, and that is that we should have the blessing of the Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada used to say that you can't go to Vrindavan by buying a train ticket. So you can't go to a holy place just by buying an airplane ticket and a train ticket or whatever. You need to have the blessing of the Vaishnavas who say that you should go to Vrindavan. You can go to Vrindavan. So this is important. Before we go, we should ask our Guru Maharaj and other senior devotees that can I go to Vrindavan? And it's usually best also to go for not too long time. The most recommended time to go is the month of Kartik. That's why we went there now on our parikrama. But otherwise, to go sometime in the fall or in the spring is the best time, because then it will not be too cold or not too hot. Vrindavan can be very cold in the winter. Not cold like Finland, much colder. Because in Finland, we have our nicely heated, insulated houses. It's minus degrees outside, but inside here in my house, it's 23 degrees. Or in Haripriya's house. So personally, I've never been as cold as when I've been in Vrindavan. I've also never been as hot as when I've been in Vrindavan. In the summer, it can be even 50 degrees, which is, if you're not accustomed to it, it's hard to stay alive in such temperature. So it can be extremely hot, it can be extremely cold. That's why it's best to go when it's a little bit in between, in the autumn or in the spring. But nowadays you can find places with AC, with heating, everything. So it's not really a major obstacle. But if you have the chance, if you have the opportunity, pick a time like this. But the main thing is we need the blessing of the Vaishnavas. And also to stay there, as I said, not too long, but and the reason for not staying there too long is that then we might start seeing the holy place as an ordinary place. It's good if we don't see everything, because even in a holy place, there are not so good things going on sometimes. There might be criminality, there might be immorality. All of these things might happen on kind of the outer border spiritually of the Dham. It's not the real Dham, but it's the apparent Dham. These things we will not notice if we go there for just a short time. If we stay for a long time, we might start seeing these kind of things. And that might be bad for our mentality towards the Dham and towards the Dhamvasis, the persons living in the Dham. So usually it's recommended not to go for too long time to Vrindavan. Some very special people, they can stay in the Dham for a long time. Guru Maharaj sometimes has stayed there for a long time, and I think Shamananda, you didn't mention it in your series about Guru Maharaj's life, but Guru Maharaj had a plan to make an ashram in Vrindavan. He even I think he had paid the down payment for a plot of land just next to Radha Damodar temple, but then it for various reasons it didn't happen. But Guru Maharaj, he's an example of a person who can stay there for a long time. There are other devotees like that. We have there's a Finnish devotee who lives at Vrinda Kund and who's lived there for years and years. So there are special devotees like that. But for an ordinary person like me, it's better to go there just for 2-3 weeks or a month or something like that. So that was a good question, Prabhuji. Thank you for that. So dear devotees, thank you for taking part in this series. I wish you all the best. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharika Giridhari Shishi Radha Madan Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Damodar Radha Sham Sundar Radha Ramana Radha Gokulananda Radha Madhava Dauji Gopal Nitai Gaur Shri Sarvoj Giriraj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupada Paranga Subhara Rajagacharya Shri Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Tripurari Dev Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Jai Nityali Pravishta Vishnupada Abhay Charana Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nityali Pravishta Vishnupada Bhakti Rakshak Shri Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nityali Pravishta Vishnupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Thakur Ki Jai Jai Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Sachidananda Moy Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Gauriya Vedanta Acharya Shri Bharati Vidhi Bhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Jai Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Srinivas Shamananda Narottam Prabhu Trai Ki Jai Jai Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahashai Ki Jai Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhattarganatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Shri Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Jai Rai Ramananda Adi Gaur Parsha Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Prem Se Ghosh Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Antarvip Maya Purushmantarvip Madhvip Kolarvip Ritudvip Chandradvip Madhvip Mohotradvip Bodhrumadvip Rudradvip Atmaka Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopiko Govardhana Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Dvadashopavan Ki Jai Jai Nandi Nanda Gram Ki Jai Jai Varsana Ki Jai Jai Sanket Ki Jai Jai Akaramatara Shri Chaitanya Ki Jai Tadya Shakamatusma Ki Jai Sri Madhuvandam Ki Jai Shri Avdaridam Ki Jai Jai Saragrahi Dam Ki Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। भुवन मंगल हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Thank you, Govinda Mohini, again for translating. Hari Hari Bol.
Shriman Bhrigupada Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
I meant
Bye.
Ananga Manjari. Thank you, Ananga Manjari. Hari Bol.